Olá, amigos. Let me ask you something. Are you a coffee person? We Brazilians drink a lot of coffee every day here. Did you know that a significant part of the coffee consumed around this world comes from Brazil? No? So grab your cup of coffee and listen to this story. I was actually holding this story to our Brazil's history playlist, but it's too cool to not be told before. Coffee is an everyday beverage in many countries around the world. USA, Germany, Brazil, and many others. But its history starts in Northeast Africa, in a region called Kaffa to be more precise. This region is located in the modern day country of Ethiopia, where coffee is still very important, probably due to the prosperous commerce carried out next to the Red Sea since ancient times. The coffee beans reached the Arabic Peninsula, where they became very popular. I bet you already heard about the Arabic coffee, right? So, despite its success, coffee found lots of enemies around the world over history. Many people tried to forbidden it, or because it was addictive, or because it came from the east, or even for, trade competition, like the wine producers tried to do in Europe. Despite all these challenges, coffee thrived. But more than that, its consumption began to be a fancy habit among the European royalty. Okay, but now you are probably asking, how coffee ended up in Brazil anyway? This part of the story can be explained by the French people. They brought coffee from their colonies there in the east, in the other side of the planet, to their colonies in America, to expand their crops. In 1727, a high-ranked Brazilian military called Francisco de Melo Palheta, who was obeying the commands of the governor of Pará, smuggled some farmable coffee beans during a mission next to the border of the French Guiana, in the far north of Brazil. That's how coffee got inside our country, underhanded. It took a while, a century to be more precise, until coffee reached the southeast region of Brazil, where it found a pretty good soil and climate for its plantation. I'm talking about the regions where is now Rio de Janeiro and the state of São Paulo. At the time, Brazil was still a colony of Portugal. That means that this coffee economy started based on slavery. Coffee went viral in the states of Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, and later in the state of Minas Gerais. Because the economic cycles of gold and sugarcane were already declining at the time, coffee became the newest, most important asset in the Brazilian market. The wealthy Brazilian landlords of the time, also known as Barões de Café or the Barons of Coffee, became the most influential elite of that time. São Paulo became the capital of coffee in Brazil at that moment, and incredible quantities of coffee sacks were exported through the harbor of Santos to the rest of the world. This city, Santos, became so important to this economy of coffee that they even built a museum there, o Museu do Café, or the Museum of Coffee, a place that you can visit if you come to Brazil. One fun fact, the marble used to decorate the floor of this museum, it's made from pieces of fossils created millions and millions of years ago. You can still, see some marks of ancient creatures that don't even exist anymore. By the end of the 19th century, the coffee exporters and producers from the east, they found their crops attacked by a fungus that destroyed lots of coffee trees. This episode made the Brazilian market more attractive and contributed to its success. About 350 of the coffee sold in the international market at the time was planted in Brazil. We're talking here about more than the half of all the coffee consumed in the world at the moment. But as nothing lasts forever, the Brazilian coffee found its decline in 1930 during the Great Depression. The USA used to be the most important trade partner of Brazil at the time. So when they entered in this crisis, they stopped importing the Brazilian coffee, and our economy started to crumble alongside with the government. In an attempt to try to contain this crisis, the president at the time, Getúlio Vargas, decided to bought and burn large quantities of coffee as a strategy to hold the inflation. Currently, the economic scenario of coffee in Brazil is way better. According to the International Coffee Organization, yes, these guys they exist. Brazil is still the biggest producer and exporter of coffee in the world. And if you want, you can check their monthly reports in their website. It's down there in the description box. This video's script was based on the article O Caminho dos Cafezais, written by Ana Luisa Martins. She's a historian who works for the government of the state of São Paulo. She also has a book called The History of Coffee, but it's only written in Portuguese. I really hope you like this video, and if you do so, please subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell for more videos. Até mais!